know someone is an agent and he's hanging out at every other corner. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 at every other bar in Hollywood. Yes, I'm glad to be in Hollywood.
Mulligan. Visiting us today is the first singing Rhett Butler. However, he is best known for creating the role of Leadville Johnny in The Unsinkable Molly Brown on stage and screen. Say hello to the robust voice of Harve Presnell. Also with us is Harve's lovely daughter, actress Raine Presnell. And now, here's your man of the half hour, Skippy Lowe.
25 years. God, Harve, 25 years. Yeah. Coming back, remaking. What? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm very excited about it. First of all, because my daughter's in her first show with me, and she made her debut with Debbie and I about 2 years ago in the nightclub act. And secondly, because I think this script is better than the original and better than the movie.
Really?
Dickie Morris has done a better job this time than he ever did before, because he's lived with it for 25 years. And frankly, I think Debbie and I are better now.
Yeah.
Better,
the audience,
the audience
opening night went out of their mind with you. But you know what I loved? I loved when you hit that stage. You made them. What presence you have on stage?
Well, it's something that I enjoy doing, and it's live theater. You know, is very exciting, and I think that's it's a rare treat today to see something that's truly live. Because as I've said before on a few shows, that most of the theater today, musical comedy theater today, is aided and abetted by tape, which I think is a major ripoff in the theater today.
I agree.
And I'm totally against it, but it's being used more and more. I feel that if a singer can't do 8 shows a week, you should get out of the business. But most singers will not do 8 shows a week. They're afraid of hurting themselves. Why, I don't know. But this tradition started a few years ago, and now we have tape and smoke and mirrors.
Can't stand that, the tape.
It's crazy. You pay good money to come see live theater, good, bad, or indifferent. You better do it live.
Yes, I
Right?
agree. Vegas is just...
it's a travesty.
But it's the companies, the industry. It's not the real show people. It is the...
That's right. It's what it is that they're oriented to television and loud sound, no matter where they are. So that's what the theater feels it has to compete with. You know, Raine is a marvelous singer and a legit voice, and she doesn't use a microphone except the mics on stage. And that's the way I was raised, the way I was trained, the way I spent my whole career doing this. And I went to the theater. I don't go very often, but I went to the theater, and the show that I saw will remain nameless, because I probably want to work for those folks one day. And I walked out. First time in my life. I could not stand to sit there and listen to taped sound and all of this smoke and mirrors going on. When I paid, or I didn't pay, they asked me to come, but I saw people sitting there being conned.
Right.
It's like a fraud. It's like a ripoff.
Yes, it is.
And I think we need to get back to legitimate theater. And if you can't do it, then get out of it. Let somebody else do it.
Your daughter, she's the youngest. You have 6. You have 6 children?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. 6 children, the youngest. Hi, Raine. How are you? You're beautiful. And you're wonderful in the show.
Thank you.
First show with your daddy?
No, first stage musical with Dad. I have done since when? Since I was 16, 17. I've been working with him on stage.
Born in the trunk.
That's right. Lived at the Drury Lane Theater, and marvelous story. My dresser, this was in England, Theatre Royal. My dresser took her one day, and they came back, and she had a pretend person that was her companion.
Yes.
And had an English accent. I said, I came in to make a quick change, and she's there, and I said, well, tell me, where are you? Where have you been? She says, well, I'm from Chicago, you know.
Yes.
And I said, oh, really? Where is Chicago? She says, upstairs next to the wardrobe. So she knew she knew the whole backstage of the marvelous theater in Drury Lane.
Did you teach her voice?
No.
Because you have such a great voice. Great voice. Did you study voice?
I didn't study at all.
You didn't study at all?
Never
You're telling me that is natural?
I never took. I think voice teachers probably ruin more talent than anything.
Really?
I'm very much against it. And Raine has never studied either. I think either you sing or you don't sing. And you learn by doing, not by teaching.
Where did Harve come from, really, originally?
My grandfather, George Harve Presnell, and my son is named after me, and we're.
Where are you originally from? What part of the country?
Northern California.
Northern?
Yep.
So
outside of a little town called Oakdale.
Okay.
Rodeo capital of the world.
What made Harve get into show business? At what age?
Well, I think it was easier than getting bucked off of horses for $5 a day. So I went to SC, University of Southern California.
Right. Study music?
I went on a sports scholarship.
Oh, okay.
I was 16 years old, and when I got there, and I wanted to get into some of the music things that were going on, and I auditioned for the chorus master and for the opera department, and they changed my major from sports and gave me a scholarship in music, and I was there 6 months and was hired to do a world premiere of an opera by Darius Milhaud, the opera David. Did it at the Hollywood Bowl. That was my first performance. Then I went to Paris.
That was your first performance?
Yeah. First paid performance.
Classical singer, though.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that is your first basic love, classic opera?
I like musical comedy.
You do?
I really do, because I think it's more demanding. I like to do the opera, but it's boring. You only do a couple a week, and you're too tired to do any more than that. I like to do theater, 8 shows a week. It's like a war. The audience is out there, and you got to prove to them you can do it every night.
That's right. How about you, Raine? You love the theater, like your dad?
I'm more on the recording side. I lean more towards recording. I have been backstage, like Dad said, all my life.
Right.
And for some reason, theater to me is synonymous with being on tour in hotels. And I would rather not have that for much longer. If I'm successful in the recording and I do have to tour, it would only be for a couple months out of a year instead of being home, only being allowed to be home for a couple months out of a year.
You live in Colorado, all you two?
Yeah.
Yeah. You keep your home base. I always thought you lived in New York. I didn't know why.
No, God, no.
No?
Only under duress.
I see. You love Colorado? It's great up there, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Where in Colorado?
We live in Perry Park. It's south of Denver, actually. It's right in between Colorado Springs and Denver. And in Larkspur, they have a Renaissance Festival every year, and that's the only thing. Larkspur has about 5 houses in it at the most, and that's the only thing we're known for, is the annual
bad
houses. This is the Renaissance Festival.
Would you like to do films?
If I was offered them, I'm sure I would.
I would try. You have a marvelous quality about you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have had people. I was modeling in Denver, and I've had people when I'm waitressing say, you really should try to get into show business, and I just let them go on. I'm like, oh, really?
Right.
Oh, well, I might try that. Yeah, I might try that someday.
You play that game.
So,
Harve, what's happening with Unsinkable Molly Brown? You're leaving, I understand. You're going to
Annie 2.
Annie 2? Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. Really? I love it.
Well, we did 5 years of the last one, and decided then that we would do the new one when they got it done. Well, it took them a while to get finished, and they called during the run of this show and said, we want you to do it. I said, well, I think I might. And I hated leaving this because Debbie and I are having such a wonderful time, and it's an enormous success. But this is a new show.
Yes.
And it's an opportunity for me to go back to New York.
Yes.
And do what I always do, which is Broadway musicals.
Yes, exactly.
I started on Broadway, came from the opera to the Winter Garden Theater and opened this show in '60.
With Tammy Grimes. Great, love her.
Went from there to the movie, and then over the years I've done many different musicals, and still I enjoy the theater the best.
Favorite musical? What is your favorite? You must have a favorite that you...
I think Carousel, probably. So far.
Yeah, you are Carousel when you're out there.
Carousel's wonderful.
God, you're wonderful. Isn't he great
the
on...
The score is fabulous.
I like him in Lancelot, as Lancelot.
Sir Lancelot, yes, and Camelot.
Only because she likes to see me wear tights.
I know. It's very funny.
Is that your favorite? Is it your dad's show?
Of him, I like the whole attitude, because most of the people you see as being Lancelot, they're playing as... there's this ego. Dad is ego. He's synonymous with ego.
Boy, does he ever walk out, doesn't he? He lets them know his presence.
Oh, yeah. I like that one just because it is Dad. He is just 100% ego, and when you put him in that position, he's great.
That's on stage. I'm a nice, easygoing
tell me about Tell me about Debbie and you. I mean, Debbie worked hard to get this thing together. I mean, she worked 4 months.
She's the best lady I know in the business. I think, first of all, she's my best friend.
Is she?
Second of all, we've known each other for
been friends all these
30
years.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
And she is just the best. I don't think anything could happen that would change that friendship.
Right.
Debbie and I. It is so absolutely solid. And we have been like brother and sister for all that time. We still work on details of this show.
Right.
As much as we've done it.
Still.
Last night, where there was a scene that we didn't think worked quite right, and we spent time at intermission trying to figure out how to make that scene better. Now that's silly. I'm leaving in 2 weeks.
And she is so professional.
Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah, she's the best. Yeah. That lady is. She's better now than she's ever been. In this performance, she's the best she's ever been. She should have done the play originally.
But I must tell you something. You were wonderful.
Well,
when you walked out, I haven't really heard of you a lot because you've been
person.
Not really. You've been around. You've been in England. You've been doing a lot of things in Europe and doing a lot of theater. And I've been here stuck in Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't get that much theater, Harve.
Hollywood's not bad. It used to have a lot of theater. What the hell happened?
Well, it has theater, but
Chandler Pavilion.
We still have that.
Series.
We still have that, Harve.
Really?
Yes, we still have it. But I'm just saying we don't get Harve Presnell here.
Well, I think it's a very rare thing today to have a legit
good singer.
Male singer.
Very.
They're hard to find.
Very. And you are the best.
What has happened is that people have, for reasons of commercialism, have become different types of singers.
Right.
And the microphones and all the loud sounds that they create. Like Sting, for instance, in Three Penny Opera, just opened in Washington.
Right.
They killed him. It's not fair because he's never had to stand on stage and do a legit show.
Right.
So, I mean, how can you expect him to be able to do it immediately? He's used to having all that smoke and fancy stuff and loud noise with a microphone in your throat.
Yes.
And now that he has to compete with everybody else on stage in a legit show, they kill him. They say, what happened to his voice? Well, I mean, the voice is the same as it always was, but he's not a legit performer.
But do the young people really want Broadway shows and legit voices? If you're coming from me, I want to talk to you about that. Do they?
Yeah, a lot of my friends are still very much into that whole thing, and they're disappointed that the people who are of our generation do need the
good legit voices.
Yeah, none of my friends who are quote legitimate singers unquote can do 8 shows a week.
Right.
I have done shows. I did cabaret. I was Fräulein Kost. And they split the lead role of Sally Bowles between 2 other girls because they couldn't carry the show. And during the dress rehearsal, before the day before the show. They both lost their voices, and I was standing off stage singing full volume so that the people could hear what was going on.
They were lip-syncing their voice. Plus she was
and they just can't do it. They want to, but they don't know how, and they're trying to split the the rock sound between the theater and their 2 completely different sounds.
So what's the answer, Harve?
The answer is if you can't do 8 shows a week, every week for a month after month after month, year after year, then get the hell out of the business.
London, England.
Yeah.
They love you. Gone with the Wind. Tell me about that show, Gone with the Wind.
That takes a lot of guts to come out in a swing at Tara on stage in a white suit. I mean, it's wonderful. Boy, I had the best time.
Did you enjoy doing it?
The best time.
Did you really?
Yeah.
The reviews were great. They loved it.
It was terrific.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me, well, Clark Gable, it's hard to follow. I said, yeah, but he didn't sing, baby.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, Clark was wonderful in the picture. But to do that character, it's a marvelous character to play, it's a good score. Again, very tough. My leading lady was very good, but she had never done a musical before.
Who was it?
June Ritchie.
Okay.
Wonderful actress.
English?
Yes,
okay.
Wonderful actress. But about 2 months into the run, the voice started to go, the diet pills came on, I have a little help today to get up, I have to do this and do this to get out of the shower in the morning. She got down to be about 98 pounds, and during the waltz on a rake stage, she passed out.
Did she really?
Yeah, fainted. And I all of a sudden had this limp rag in my hand, so I finished and the curtain came down, and I handed her to the stage manager and walked off. I came back on stage for the next act, and there was a girl I'd never seen before.
Oh, how wonderful.
She made her entrance into the stockade scene, and I said, Scarlett? Scarlett, you look a little different. 4 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. And I asked him, I said, why didn't you tell me? I don't know this lady. He said, well, oh boy, she's an understudy, you know. So from then on, I had 3 different Scarletts. 2 on the first part of the week, and one to do the matinees. It was ridiculous.
Sound of Music. Such a great show.
Good show, yeah. I've done it. I don't particularly care.
You don't care for it?
Not as
the music in this particular show. There is not really a definite song that...
No, it's hard as hell to sing.
Am I correct? It is hard song.
Oh, geez.
Is it a hard show? It is.
Damn right.
Yeah,
I mean, that soliloquy, the soliloquy tries enough to kill anybody.
Yeah.
But everybody says, gee, I wonder why I don't remember the music. The music is very much an integral part of the play.
Right.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
And when Johnny Brown expresses something, he does it Colorado. He comes out on a log, he yells Colorado, boom, he takes over the stage. But you don't remember the song other than it sounds like a Meredith Willson march.
Yeah.
The music is very much an integral part of the story of the play, of the characters.
Yes.
Unlike Music Man. Music Man has individual 76 trombones.
Yes, songs, yes.
Pool, Trouble in River City, all that.
It's a definite,
So you have individual songs you remember. This Meredith wrote and did a brilliant job of making this an integral part, almost as well as Frank Lesser did in some of the plays that he wrote. Carousel is another example of an integrated kind of music script score, so that when the dialogue stops and the song starts, you're not aware of a big bump. And that's a technique and a very unusual talent.
Happy. You seem happy.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm always happy.
Are you satisfied what's happening to your career at this moment in life?
I don't know. I'm working. I got 2 jobs. That's all you can ask.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I
Ask
was going to
me.
ask you.
Ask me. What?
Married? How many years? Lovely wife.
God, I don't know. I quit counting. She's great.
She's beautiful. How many years?
Huh?
23.
23.
Yeah, I've been married a long time.
She's a lovely lady. Just
Great
lovely.
lady.
Yes. Where did you meet her?
Met her in church.
Did you really?
Yeah.
In church?
Yeah, she went to UCLA and I went to USC, and I sang at the Hollywood Presbyterian Church right over in Gower.
Yeah, on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, and we met there, and we've been together ever since. You betcha.
You're very spiritual, aren't you?
I guess I'm pretty careful about the man upstairs. I don't want to offend him. I'm having enough trouble getting through life as it is. I want all the help I can get.
I just heard that your dad is about the drugs. He's with the people with the drug thing, huh? Tell me about it.
We're both on the President's Council Against Drug Abuse.
Against the drug abuse.
And we toured Colorado in the dead of winter, the coldest places on the face of this earth. We toured for Coors and Communities for Drug-Free Colorado.
Yeah, Bill Coors has a great program going.
Yeah, we went around and did that. It's awfully difficult because when you go out and somebody sees you with a wine cooler in your hand, they're like, you're not supposed to do that. And it's really hard to differentiate and say, no, this is not, we're talking about abuse.
Yes.
You know, this is not.
Yeah, it's quite
a completely different thing.
It's difficult because we have grown up and still are in a very disciplined time.
Yes.
In theater, you don't dissipate, you don't overdo anything, and you certainly don't do illegal drugs, because if you do, there's a reason for them being illegal.
Yes.
There's a reason you don't do coke, for instance, or crack, because it's destructive and it ruins you. I don't know any performer, legit, I'm talking about singers now.
Yes.
You know, people like Tibbet a few years ago, an opera singer.
Right.
Great voice. Ruined himself by drinking excessively.
Wine or
No,
liquor?
booze, heavy duty. Björling died an alcoholic. Björling was one of the greatest singers of all time. So but it took a long time to destroy that career by alcohol.
Yes.
It takes a very short time to destroy a career using cocaine. Within a matter of months, they either go to dry out or to get off the stuff, or they're destroyed, temporarily at least, and eventually completely destroyed by illegal drugs. I'm talking about pot, I'm talking about cocaine, crack, any kind of speed, amphetamine, smokable stuff, and even some of our prescription drugs are very destructive. Cortisone, for instance, is the singer's worst enemy.
Cortisone is?
Oh,
really?
It's the first thing they want to give somebody when they lose their voice.
Oh, okay.
Give me a dose of cortisone, I'll get through it. Well, If you do that a few times, not only does the cortisone become ineffective, but you hurt yourself.
Because you can't feel what you're doing.
You just do it even when you shouldn't. It's a dreadful thing. Dr. Feelgood, you know, Max in New York, he ruined a lot of people.
Did he really?
Oh,
yeah.
God, President of the United States was one of them. And they never nailed him. They never got him. He would give them vitamin injections, and it was cortisone and amphetamine and so on. You know.
So you help a lot of young. You help a lot of young.
Don't help
Americans.
anybody.
Yes,
Just trying to. I'll tell you what's going to happen.
What is going to happen to
in our business, particularly?
Yeah.
We in the entertainment industry have been probably the worst offenders of not calling people to terms on the use of illegal drugs.
Right.
We have made jokes about it. We have said how funny it is, the pot, the reefers, all of that stuff is, recreational drugs. Isn't it wonderful? We're stoned, we're blasted, we're blitzed, we're out of our minds. We make fun of the guy who has fried his brain and can't function.
Yes.
Almost the same way we made fun of alcoholics a few years ago. And then everybody said, wait, we can't show a drunk on television. He's not funny.
Right.
Well, that's true. But then why should we show a guy stoned out of his gourd? Why should we show a girl who is blitzed, who is doing things with her body and with her mind that she never would do had she not been out of her gourd? So we have promoted the use of illegal drugs. Now we have to go back and undo that. It's very tough to do. And you can't legislate morality, so how do you do it? You do it by saying, listen, friend, you're going to be in my business, and you're going to do 8 shows a week.
Right.
Same way with going to the office in the morning and functioning every day. Then you don't do this crap on the weekends. Because if you do, you're never going to have a career.
Takes you the week to make up for it.
You never catch up, ever. So if you're going to fly with me, you got to be free.
I see.
The ultimate abuse is the misuse of personal freedom. Think about it. If you overeat, if you overdrink, if you take crap into your system, if you misuse people, if you're not concerned about your country, if you let them burn your flag, if you let them dump on you, if you let them misuse your currency, good Lord, look what's happening to our currency.
I know.
It's out of our hands. It's out of our control. We're getting killed in the world because of a $300 billion economic loop created by the drug trade. I mean, you got to come on. It's everybody's fight. And I, for one,
got to pitch in and
I, for one, don't want to hear about rehabs. The poor people who have the problem. To hell with them. I'm sorry. They got to get help somewhere, but I can't tell them what to do now. Exactly. You can't even talk to them. So let's deal with the generation coming on.
So that's what you're dealing with at this moment. You're going around talking. This, very interesting.
You go to schools.
Yeah. May I ask you a question? I just want to know, Harve, opera. Would you like to do an opera?
Yeah, I did Meister
This is the time of your life right now.
I did Meister Singer when I was a kid in Europe.
But the voice is better than, operas are better now.
Oh, yeah, sure.
At your age, right now.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
I'd like to see you do
it's
opera
not,
right now.
Yeah, I'll do it, but it takes 6 months to get prepared to do the leading recording for Columbia is Carmina Burana with Normandy, and I did it
you made a lot of
years
records,
ago.
didn't you?
Yeah,
Made a lot
Deutsche Grammophon. So on. But to do it, the money, first of all, is not there to do opera the way I want to do it. It takes 6 months to do the right kind of production. Instead of phoning it in, instead of making it, it's like staging the circus. It's very hard to get all these elements together.
Yes.
And today you find even opera singers saying, oh, I can't do that today, so you'll have to cancel. And so 4,000 people are out there saying, what the hell's going on? We bought tickets.
Right.
Oh, so-and-so isn't feeling quite well today, so we're not going to do the opera. It is true, you have to be vocally in a little better shape to do opera because of the vocal demands, but you're only doing 1 or 2 a week at the outside.
Yes.
Musical comedy is much more demanding. For instance, Pinza, when he signed to do his first musical comedy before Fanny, he crapped out at least twice a week, 3 times a week.
Did he really?
Had laryngitis. Couldn't do it.
Tell me something. After Molly Brown, what's happening after this? Going into, and what's happening with you after Molly Brown?
I'm recording a demo, and I'm going to see if somebody will pick it up. I have I have enough good material, very good material, to produce at least 3 albums right now.
Good.
But what I'm going to do is put all my effort into one song and one demo, and I also have copywritten a video idea for it, because my songs are very much like stories. They all tell
You
stories.
write all your own songs?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Isn't that
Music
lovely?
and lyrics.
You
I
must
also
be proud
have
of your daughter.
I am. I'm proud of all my children. My
putting him on
daughters.
there with
Are they
me.
all,
talent.
is this
Great
the only
talent.
one in the business? Or
No, I
you have
think we have
others?
a couple in the business, yeah.
Taylor.
Taylor's in the business, and Tully is a composer going to SC.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's terrific. But she has a natural gift for composition and for singing and performing, and so that's what, it's fine to be in the chorus,
Right.
to have a job, but she's got to get on with her career.
You worked together with Debbie and a nightclub act.
Yep.
Tell me about that. Where was that at? I love that.
Quite
I
a
love
few places.
Nightclub act. That
Quite a
was-
few places, yeah.
Really? What
We
that-
did it. She tells a story, or I tell a story.
She's crazy in a nightclub act.
Oh,
isn't
she's
she?
wonderful.
I love her in the club.
We went to, anyway, she said, why not Raine ought to do that? I said, okay. So I got out the first time, and she said, just wing it. I'll come out after she sings with you, but you got to introduce her.
Right.
So I came out and I told a true story about when she was a little girl, and we were doing
Yes.
Annie Get Your Gun down here at the Chandler Pavilion
yeah.
with Gower Champion. And she, opening night, disappeared from my dressing room. And all the celebs were there, as they are, on opening night.
Right.
Nobody was around. And I said, where did she go? Where's Raine? And my wife said, I don't know, I'll go find her. So she was in Debbie's dressing room. And my wife went in and said, I'm sorry that she's bothering you. She said, no, she belongs here. And then Debbie said, don't tell her I told you. But she came in and she got my attention. She said, Debbie, I want to ask you something. And Debbie said, yes, dear. She said, when I grow up, will you teach me everything you know about show business? Everything. And she said, yes. So she promised her at that point when she was a little girl. So that's the story I tell on stage. And then I say, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
my daughter Raine. So
That's
this
great.
gorgeous girl walks out, and they're expecting
A little girl.
They all, when he says that, it takes a second for me to get out on the stage, and when he says, ladies and gentlemen, my daughter Raine, the audience goes,
that's
and they
sweet.
literally go, hi, Mimi
Then we do
Hines.
a great number.
Mimi Hines says hello to you.
Oh, Mimi!
She's in show
Yeah.
now. She's doing the Marilyn and Alan Bergman show. It opens tonight at the theater here in town.
Downtown.
That's how. No, it's here in West Hollywood. She's opening.
Where is it?
Marilyn, I'll tell you
never see
after.
her.
And
Yeah.
she is wonderful. And she told me to tell you hello.
Oh, she's great. What a great lady.
She thinks you're the greatest too. And I just felt you had such a great crowd there opening night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
God, you had them all there. And Miller,
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Yeah, you had them all there though.
Yeah.
God, there were
Yeah, the cast was very excited to see who was in
Carrie
the first
Fisher?
couple rows.
Yeah, Carrie was there backstage.
with her mother. Debbie's
Yeah.
mother was there, huh?
Yes.
I saw
Maxine
her.
was there.
It was
And
Todd
who
was
else
there?
was there?
Oh, there's many,
Shirley
many.
MacLaine was
Shirley-
there.
yeah, Shirley
Dear
MacLaine.
friend of
Yeah,
ours.
very-
Lovely lady. They're doing.
What
They're doing Carrie's picture.
They are?
Carrie wrote the screenplay on her book,
Uh-huh.
and Meryl and Shirley are both doing it.